10 enthusiasts and curious minds alike. Today we delve into the peculiar world of phobias. A phobia, in simple terms, is an extreme, irrational fear of or aversion to something. But we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill fears like spiders or heights. No, today we're exploring the 10 strangest phobias. From the fear of beauty to the fear of sleep, these unusual phobias may seem absurd, but they're very real to those who experience them. So buckle up, it's going to be a fascinating journey into the human mind. Starting off our list at number 10 is phobophobia. You might be thinking, what in the world is that? Well, it's as strange as it sounds. Phobophobia is the fear of phobias itself. Yes, you heard it right, it's the fear of developing a fear. Imagine being so worried about getting scared that the worry itself becomes scary. So what causes phobophobia? It's often linked to traumatic events or experiences that might have triggered a different phobia in the past. This leads to a kind of domino effect where the person becomes anxious about developing more phobias. The effects? Well, it can cause a constant state of anxiety and distress, making life quite challenging. The person might live in constant anticipation of fear, leading to a vicious cycle of unease and worry. Imagine being in constant fear of fear itself, quite a paradox, isn't it? At number 9 we have nomophobia. Now what is nomophobia, you might ask? This peculiar term is a mashup of no mobile phone phobia. As the name suggests, it's the fear of being without mobile phone coverage. No internet connection, no calls, no texts. Just the thought is enough to cause a cold sweat for some. So, what causes nomophobia? Researchers suggest that it's a byproduct of our ever-increasing reliance on smartphones. They serve as our connection to the world, our personal assistant, our entertainment center, and so much more. Losing this connection can induce feelings of anxiety and helplessness. The effects? They can range from mild inconvenience to full-blown panic attacks. And it's not just a fear for the younger generation. Anyone can fall prey to nomophobia, regardless of their age. In our digital age, this one might be more common than we think. Coming in at number 8 is ergophobia. Now we've all had those days when we just can't face the thought of work, right? But for some, this feeling runs much deeper. It's not mere laziness or a case of the Monday blues. No, for individuals with ergophobia, the mere thought of work can trigger intense fear and anxiety. Ergophobia is a complex phobia often associated with social and performance anxieties. It can stem from a fear of failing at assigned tasks, anxiety about interacting with co-workers, or even past traumatic experiences related to work. The effects of this phobia can be debilitating. Sufferers may struggle to maintain steady employment, leading to financial instability and further stress. Treatment typically involves cognitive behavioral therapy, which aims to change the thought patterns that lead to fear and anxiety. Work can be stressful, but imagine it triggering a deep-seated fear. Now that's ergophobia for you. At number 7, we find venostrophobia. This is no ordinary fear. It's the fear of beautiful women. Yes, you heard it right. Some people are genuinely terrified of women who are considered attractive. It's not about nervousness or shyness, it's a full-blown phobia. Venostrophobia can be caused by various factors. It might stem from a traumatic experience in the past, such as rejection, embarrassment, or humiliation involving a beautiful woman. Alternatively, it could be due to low self-esteem or feelings of inadequacy. The effects of this phobia are far-reaching. It can lead to panic attacks, rapid heartbeat, trembling, and even avoidance behavior. Those affected might go to great lengths to avoid situations where they might encounter beautiful women, impacting their social and professional lives. This phobia is treatable, typically through cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps individuals confront and change their fear responses. Quite an unusual fear, isn't it? Number 6 on our list is dipnophobia. Now this is a particularly unique fear. It's not about spiders, heights, or even the dark. No, this is the fear of dinner conversations. You heard it right. It's a social phobia that's characterized by an intense dread of engaging in chit-chat while dining. Imagine feeling your heart race at the thought of a simple dinner party. The reasons behind this phobia can vary. For some, it's the fear of saying something inappropriate or embarrassing. For others, it's the overwhelming fear of being judged or scrutinized. The effects? Well, individuals with dipnophobia might avoid social events where food is involved, which can lead to isolation. They might also experience physical symptoms like nausea and sweating when faced with a mealtime discussion. So next time you're at a dinner party, spare a thought for those who find the conversation far more daunting than the menu. Dinner parties might never be the same for some. Coming in at number 5 is orthographobia. This unusual fear is characterized by an intense dread of making spelling mistakes. While it's normal to feel a bit of tension when writing an important document or an email to your boss, people with orthographobia experience anxiety that's way off the charts. Their hearts may race, hands shake, and thoughts whirl at the mere thought of penning down a word incorrectly. So, what causes orthographobia? Well, it's often linked to past traumatic experiences related to spelling, perhaps a harsh teacher, a public spelling error, or relentless teasing from peers. This fear can have debilitating effects on a person's life, limiting their ability to communicate effectively and even impacting their career choices. Imagine this. You're asked to participate in a spelling bee. For most, it might be a fun challenge. But for those with orthographobia, it's a nightmare. They'd rather face a swarm of actual bees than spell a word in front of an audience. For those with orthographobia, a spelling bee might seem like a nightmare. At number 4, we have ablutophobia. Now, many of us may enjoy a hot shower or a relaxing bath, but for those with ablutophobia, the very thought of bathing can trigger panic and anxiety. This unusual fear is often linked to traumatic past experiences related to water or bathing. Imagine feeling your heart race, your palms sweat, and your breath quicken at the mere thought of stepping into a shower or a bathtub. That's the reality for people with ablutophobia. They may go to great lengths to avoid bathing, which can lead to social and health problems. But it's not just about the physical act of bathing. Ablutophobia can also be triggered by the thought of being naked or vulnerable, which often goes hand in hand with bathing. Treatment often involves cognitive behavioral therapy to help sufferers confront and manage their fears. Hygiene takes on a whole new level of terror with this phobia. Coming in at number 3 is euphobia. This peculiar phobia is the fear of hearing good news. Yes, you heard it right, good news. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? But for some, receiving good news triggers anxiety and discomfort. Euphobia often stems from a person's association of good news with subsequent negative events. It's as if they've been conditioned to expect bad luck to follow any stroke of good fortune. You can imagine how this could put a damper on birthdays, job promotions, or even winning the lottery. The effects of euphobia can be quite debilitating. People with this fear may avoid social interactions, miss out on opportunities, or live in a constant state of worry. They may even go so far as to reject good news outright, preferring to live in a state of pessimism to avoid the anxiety associated with positive events. Good news can bring joy, but for some, it brings fear. Our runner-up at number 2 is somnophobia. Now, this isn't just about those who dread the idea of a bad dream or two. Somnophobia is the extreme, irrational fear of sleep. Picture this. You're terrified of the very thing that's supposed to rejuvenate and refresh you after a long day. Quite the predicament, isn't it? Now, you may be wondering, what triggers such a fear? Well, it's often linked to anxiety disorders, or it may stem from traumatic events associated with sleep, such as sleep paralysis or nightmares. The effects are far-reaching too. Insomnia, fatigue, impaired functioning, and even the fear of dying in sleep can plague those with somnophobia. Treatment can involve cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure therapy, and in some cases, medication. It's a tough journey, but many have found their way back to peaceful slumbers. For those with somnophobia, bedtime is far from restful. But with the right help, it doesn't have to stay that way. And finally, at number 1, we have panphobia. Panphobia is a fascinating yet distressing condition. It's not just the fear of spiders, heights, or closed spaces, it's the fear of everything. That's right, everything. Imagine being afraid of every object, every situation, every moment of your life. This uncommon phobia is often associated with a general sense of dread or anxiety, with sufferers unable to pinpoint their fear to any one thing. It's like being lost in a fog of fear, unable to find a way out. What causes panphobia? Well, it's complicated. It may emerge from traumatic life events, or it could be a symptom of other mental health conditions. Either way, it's a debilitating condition that can severely affect a person's quality of life. Imagine living in constant fear, a truly debilitating condition. But remember, just like any other phobia, it's treatable. So if you or someone you know is struggling with this, don't hesitate to seek help. There you have it, the top 10 strangest phobias. We've journeyed through the peculiar terrains of phobophobia, nomophobia, ergophobia, and venistrophobia. We've navigated the odd realms of diapnophobia, ortographobia, ablutophobia, and euphobia. Lastly, we've explored the bewildering world of somnophobia and panphobia. Each one unique, each one a testament to the human mind's capacity for fear. Remember, understanding our fears is the first step to overcoming them. Thank you for watching. Subscribe so you don't miss new videos on our Top 10 channel.